Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I concur and join with the Prime Minister in his remarks about the terrible deaths in Orlando. On Monday, I joined a vigil of thousands of LGBT people in Soho in London to mourn the deaths of the 49. And also, I want to say, we say thank you to all those all over this country who attended vigils on Monday night to show their concern and their horror about it. Quite simply, we defeat such atrocities through our love and our solidarity, and we need to send that message out. 3 years ago, Mr. Speaker, there was a cross-party agreement for the implementation of Section 40 of the Crime in Courts Act and to proceed with Leveson 2 once criminal prosecutions were concluded. The Prime Minister will be aware that today there is a lobby of Parliament by the victims of phone hacking. The Prime Minister said a few years ago, we all did too much cosing up to Rupert Murdoch. Well, some of his Tory Brexit colleagues are certainly cosing up to Rupert Murdoch at the moment. But will the Prime Minister give a commitment today that he will meet the victims of press intrusion and assure them that he will keep his promise on this? Mr. Speaker, my question was, will he meet the victims of phone hacking? I hope he will, because they deserve it, and he promised that he would meet them. A major funder, Mr. Speaker, of the Leave campaign said, and I quote, "If it were up to me, I'd privatise the National Health Service." The honourable member for Uxbridge said, if people have to pay for NHS services, they will value them more. Both he and the honourable member for Surrey Heath are members of a government that has put the NHS into record deficit. These people are now masquerading as the saviours of the NHS, wolves in sheep's clothing. Didn't the honourable member for Totnes get it right when she rejected the duplicity of this argument in the Leave campaign and decided to join the Remain campaign? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, the Prime Minister gave a welcome commitment to the closing of the loophole in the Posting of Workers Directive. We'll hold him to that. But we're concerned about the exploitation of migrant workers and the undercutting of wages in this country as a result of that. On that issue, will the Prime Minister today commit to the outlawing of the practice of agencies that only advertise abroad for jobs that are in reality jobs in this country? Corbyn. Mr. Speaker, my question was about outlawing the practice of advertising by agencies only in other countries. Tens of thousands of EU and other people have migrated to Britain, work in our public services and do a fantastic job. Many people in Britain are also concerned about immigration and their local communities. Surely, Mr. Speaker, what communities need is practical solutions, like the Migrant Impact Fund set up by Gordon Brown when he was Prime Minister to deal with the extra pressure on housing, schools and hospitals. Will the Prime Minister now concede that it was a mistake to abolish that fund, and will he work with us to reinstate it as a matter of urgency to give support to those communities that are facing problems on school places and doctors' surgeries? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, a flotilla of boats is due to come along the Thames, campaigning on fishing quotas not going to the UK domestic fleet. I've been looking out of the window and I haven't seen them come yet, but presumably they're on their way. The Prime Minister will be very well aware that reforms that were made 3 years ago actually put the power back into the hands of Member States, and it's the UK government that has given nearly 2/3 of the English and Welsh fishing quotas to just 3 companies, thus excluding small fishing communities all along our coasts. Can the Prime Minister stop blaming Brussels on this and tell our small-scale and sustainable fishing communities what action he will take to allow them to continue their work and indeed go further out in collecting fish? But his government still did hand quotas over to 3 very large companies at the expense of small communities around Britain. I hope he will reflect on that. Mr. Speaker, with just 8 days to go before the referendum, the Labour position is that we're going to be voting to remain because we believe it's the best way to protect families, protect jobs and protect public services. We would oppose any post-Brexit austerity budget, just as we have opposed any austerity budget put forward by this government. So will the Prime Minister take this opportunity to condemn the opportunism of 57 of his colleagues who are pro-leave, who have suddenly, these are members who backed the bedroom tax, backed cutting disability benefits and slashing care for the elderly, who suddenly have now had a Damascene conversion to the anti-austerity movement? Does he have any message for them? Does he have any message for them at all?
Useless.